Imagine this. You're sleeping on a friend's sofa. You've got almost no money to your name. Most people think you're crazy. Every idea you share is laughed at. But instead of giving up, you keep dreaming bigger. Bigger than cars. Bigger than computers. Bigger than the entire world. You dream of rockets leaving Earth. You dream of building a future that others don't even dare to imagine. That's not fiction. It's the reality of Elon Musk. Today, when people hear his name, they think billionaire. They think Tesla. They think SpaceX. They think the richest man in the world. But what they don't see are the years of sleeping on sofas, the pain of rejection, the fear of bankruptcy, and the moments when everything almost collapsed. This isn't just the story of a man. It's the story of resilience. It's the story of turning humiliation into fuel. It's the story of how one man chose to bet on himself when no one else would. And here's why it matters for you. Because if Elon Musk can rise from a bullied child in South Africa to becoming the man who builds rockets to Mars, then you can rise from whatever sofa moment you're facing today. So sit tight. This is the Rise series, and this is Sleeping on Sofas to Building Rockets. The Elon Musk story. His early life in South Africa. Elon Musk was born in Pretoria, South Africa in 1971. And right from the start, life wasn't easy. He wasn't the popular kid. He wasn't the strongest. In fact, he was bullied. Brutally. There's a story of him being beaten so badly by school bullies that he was hospitalized. Broken nose, bruised body. But here's the thing. While the world was beating him down physically, inside his mind was building worlds no one could see. He was obsessed with books, read for hours every single day. Science fiction, physics, philosophy, anything he could get his hands on. And here's what's powerful. When other kids were playing outside, Elon was dreaming about other planets. While others thought about school crushes, Elon thought about humanity's survival. He taught himself programming at just 12 years old. And he didn't just learn, he coded a simple video game called Blastar. He sold it for $500 at 12 years old. Think about that. Most kids were asking their parents for pocket money. Elon was already proving that knowledge plus action creates opportunity. But South Africa wasn't the place for a dreamer like Elon. He knew if he stayed, he would be stuck, limited, surrounded by small thinking. So as a teenager, Elon made a radical decision. He would leave. He would chase a bigger future, even if it meant leaving comfort behind. The move to America. At 17, Elon left South Africa, moved first to Canada. And here's the truth. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't a private jet. It wasn't first class. It was low-paying jobs. Manual labor, cleaning boilers in a lumber mill. Hard, dirty, exhausting work. But every shift, every blister, every night sleeping in cramped spaces was a step closer to the dream. He knew America was the land of opportunity. He knew that if he could just get there, he would find his chance. Eventually, he enrolled at Queen's University in Canada, and later transferred to the University of Pennsylvania in the US. But here's the detail most people don't know. Elon didn't live the life of a typical college kid. He couldn't afford luxury, couldn't even afford rent sometimes. He and his brother rented an office space, and instead of going home at night, they slept in the office. They showered at the gym, and they worked all day, every day. That's where the phrase, sleeping on sofas, comes from. Because for Elon, comfort was never the goal. The mission was the goal. Pause and let that sink in. He gave up comfort to build a future. He chose hard work when others chose easy living. He sacrificed sleep, parties, and normal life for a vision. And that's the first great lesson of Elon Musk's story. Greatness requires sacrifice. You cannot want an extraordinary life and also live like everyone else. You cannot want to build rockets if you're not willing to sleep on sofas. The zip-to chapter. So there he was. A young man in America. No safety net, no big family money, just ambition and a burning desire to build. In the mid-1990s, the internet was still a mystery to most people. But Elon saw what others didn't. He saw a future where the internet wasn't just entertainment. It was infrastructure. It was destiny. With his brother Kimball, Elon started a company called Zip2. Now imagine this. They had an office, but no apartment. so they literally slept in the office. Showers at the local YMCA. This wasn't a startup story of Silicon Valley luxury. This was survival, coding by day, pitching by night, eating cheap meals, scraping by, and the worst part, nobody believed in them. Investor after investor turned them down. Doors slammed. Eyes rolled. People laughed. But Elon refused to stop. He worked 20-hour days. If the servers crashed at 3 a.m., he was there, fixing it. If the code broke, he rewrote it. He pushed so hard his body sometimes collapsed. Finally, after relentless persistence, someone said yes, and Zip2 got its first break. What did Zip2 do? It helped newspapers bring their content online. Back then, this idea sounded ridiculous. Why would anyone want to read news on a screen? But Elon saw the future, and he was right. Eventually, Compaq bought Zip2 for $307 million. And Elon walked away with $22 million. Sounds like a success story, right? But here's where most people get it wrong. Most people would stop right there. Take the money, live in luxury, retire young. Not Elon, because for him it was never about money. It was always about mission. The PayPal chapter. With $22 million in his pocket, Elon could finally breathe. But instead of relaxing, he went all in again. This time, on something even crazier. He founded X.com, an online bank. This was the late 1990s, and nobody trusted online banking. People thought the internet was risky. The idea of sending money online, it's insane. But Elon believed it. He saw a world where money could move as easily as email, staked everything on it. At first, X.com was rough. Technical issues, skeptical users, but Elon pushed forward. Then came the merger. X.com merged with a company called Confinity, and together they became PayPal. Finally, something clicked. The platform grew. People started trusting it. And suddenly money wasn't just paper, it was digital. But as PayPal grew, so did tension. Elon was CEO, but he wasn't exactly traditional. He was demanding. He was visionary. But he clashed with his team. While Elon was on vacation, the board voted him out. He was fired from the company he founded. Pause there. Think about that. You pour everything into building something, and the people you trusted rip it away. Most people would break. Most people would walk away bitter and done, but not Elon. Because this is what separates dreamers from doers. He didn't cry about it. He didn't quit. And here's the twist. Even though he was fired, Elon still held shares. When PayPal was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion, Elon's cut was about $180 million. $180 million? That was the reward for not quitting. That was the price of resilience. But here's what makes his story legendary. He didn't keep the money. He didn't put it in a bank account. He didn't buy an island. He took that fortune and bet it all again. On two companies most people thought were insane. One, an electric car company. The other, a rocket company, Tesla and SpaceX. And here's the part that almost no one understands. He didn't split the money to keep some safe. He put all of it in, every penny. When people asked, why risk it all again? Elon's answer was simple. If something is important enough, you do it, even if the odds are against you. The dark years. Elon Musk had just walked away from PayPal with $180 million. To the world that looked like a dream come true, but what the world didn't see was that he was about to step into the darkest, most painful chapter of his life. Because here's the truth. Success isn't a straight climb. It's a roller coaster. And Elon was about to experience the drop. The birth of SpaceX. In 2002, Elon founded SpaceX. And the vision? Insane. Build rockets cheaper than NASA. Send humans to Mars. Change the destiny of humanity. People laughed. They said, you can't compete with NASA. They said, this guy's crazy. But Elon didn't care. He poured hundreds of millions into SpaceX. Hired engineers, rented factories, started building rockets from scratch. The first rocket failed. The second rocket failed. The third rocket failed. 3 explosions. Hundreds of millions gone. Critics called him a fraud. The media mocked him. Even his friends begged him to stop. But Elon refused, because to him, failure wasn't the end. Failure was data. Failure was information. Failure was just one step closer to success. The Tesla struggle. At the same time, Elon was fighting another battle. Tesla. When he backed Tesla in 2004, people said electric cars were impossible. They said electric vehicles would never work. They said nobody wanted them. But Elon believed. Now, just like SpaceX, Tesla was bleeding money. Production delays, technical failures, mounting debt, investors started pulling out. The press started mocking him. And on top of that, Elon's personal life was falling apart. His marriage ended. He was going through divorce. He was watching his fortune burn away in 2 companies. And suddenly, the man who had walked away from PayPal with $180 million was broke. He borrowed money from friends to pay rent. He slept on couches again. He was right back where he started. Imagine that. From millionaire to broke, sofa surfing, all over again. Most people would quit. Most people would cash out whatever they had left and say, I tried. But Elon wasn't most people. He wasn't chasing comfort. He was chasing a mission. And missions demand sacrifice. Rock bottom. By 2008, Elon was at rock bottom. SpaceX had just had its 3rd rocket failure. Tesla was weeks away from bankruptcy. The global financial crisis hit. Investors vanished. Credit dried up. And Elon was forced to make the most brutal choice of his life. He had $40 million left and 2 companies on life support. If he split the money, both companies would die. If you put it all into one, maybe one could survive. What would you do? Most people would save themselves. But Elon, he did something different. He put everything into both companies, knowing full well that if they failed, he would be completely bankrupt. That's not just risk. That's obsession. That's sacrifice. And here's the lesson for you. Greatness will demand that you risk more than you're comfortable with. Greatness doesn't ask you to dip a toe in the water. Greatness asks you to dive headfirst into the deep end. And Elon dove. Then the breakthrough came. SpaceX launched its 4th rocket, the Falcon 1. And for the first time, it worked. It reached orbit. The dream was alive. Just days later, NASA signed a $1.6 billion contract with SpaceX, and SpaceX was saved. At the same time, Tesla secured emergency funding, just hours before bankruptcy. Tesla survived too. In the space of weeks, Elon Musk went from total collapse to salvation. And here's the truth. That's how life works. It tests you to the breaking point. It strips you down. It asks, how bad do you want it? And if you endure, if you refuse to quit, that's when the breakthrough comes. When Falcon 1 finally reached orbit on September 28, 2008, it wasn't just a rocket launch. It was a resurrection. After 3 devastating failures, after burning through hundreds of millions, after almost losing everything, SpaceX had finally proven the impossible. A private company could build and launch a rocket into orbit. And suddenly, the laughter stopped. The critics who mocked Elon, the journalists who called him a fraud, the investors who called him reckless, they all went silent. Because when the Falcon 1 reached orbit, history was made. The NASA lifeline. Not long after that launch, NASA announced something shocking. They awarded SpaceX a contract worth $1.6 billion to deliver cargo to the International Space Station. Think about that. NASA, the giant of space exploration, was betting on a private startup that had almost died. That contract didn't just save SpaceX. It validated SpaceX, proved that Elon wasn't just chasing a fantasy. He was building the future. Falcon 9 and the bigger vision. But Elon wasn't satisfied, because Falcon 1 was just the beginning. He wanted a bigger rocket. A rocket that could deliver heavy payloads. A rocket that could compete with the giants of aerospace. So he and his team built the Falcon 9. And here's what made it different. From day one, Elon demanded that it be reusable. Why? Because traditional rockets were thrown away after one flight. Imagine buying a $100 million airplane and then throwing it away after a single trip. That's how rockets worked. Elon thought that was insane. He believed that to truly make space travel affordable, you had to land the rocket, reuse it, fly it again. Once again, the world laughed. Experts said it was impossible. Aerospace veterans said if NASA couldn't do it, who does Musk think he is? but Elon pushed anyway. And in 2010, the Falcon 9 had its first successful launch. SpaceX was no longer just a startup. It was a legitimate force in space exploration. Relentless work ethic. But let's pause for a moment, because this is where Elon Musk's mindset truly separates him. While building Falcon 9, Elon was working insane hours, 20-hour days, sleeping on factory floors, walking the assembly lines at 2 a.m., talking to engineers, solving problems, demanding solutions. He wasn't the CEO behind a desk. He was in the trenches, getting his hands dirty. There's a famous story of Elon working at the SpaceX factory on Christmas Eve. While most people were home with their families, Elon was on the floor, solving technical problems. Why? Because when you're building something that changes the world, you don't get to clock out at 5 p.m., you don't get to take weekends off. The mission comes first. And that's another lesson for us. If you want extraordinary results, you cannot live an ordinary schedule. Success isn't built in free time. It's built in sacrifice. It's built in obsession. First, reusable rocket tests. After the Falcon 9's success, Elon doubled down on reusability. The idea of landing a rocket on its tail was science fiction, but Elon believed it was possible. In 2013, SpaceX began testing Grasshopper, a small rocket designed to launch and land vertically. The world laughed again. People posted videos mocking it. Cartoons showed rockets toppling over. Experts said it's a waste of money. But Elon kept pushing, test after test, failure after failure, explosion after explosion, until finally, a rocket landed. And then it landed again, and then again. History had changed. SpaceX had proven what the world said was impossible. Reusable rockets. And this wasn't just about saving money. It was about opening the door to the stars. Because if rockets could be reused like airplanes, then space travel could become accessible. It's not just for governments, but for humanity, the Mars vision. And here's the heart of it all, because Elon's vision has never been about money. It's been about mission. When people ask him, why rockets? Why Mars? His answer's simple. We have to become a multiplanetary species. He believes humanity's survival depends on it. That one day something will happen on Earth, climate disaster, nuclear war, an asteroid, and if we're only on one planet, we're vulnerable. So, to Elon, Mars isn't a fantasy, it's insurance for the human race. It's the next chapter of our story, and that's what keeps him going. That's why he risked everything. That's why he refused to quit after failure. That's why he sleeps in factories and sacrifices comfort, because his mission is bigger than himself. Tesla's struggle for survival. While SpaceX was proving the impossible in the skies, Tesla was fighting its own war here on Earth. When Elon joined Tesla in 2004, electric cars were considered a joke. Slow, ugly, weak, something nobody wanted. The auto industry laughed at him. The oil industry ignored him. The press mocked him, and Wall Street bet against him. But Elon believed. He believed electric cars weren't just possible, they were the future. A cleaner, smarter, faster future. The Roadster. Gamble. Tesla's first car, the Roadster, was built on a bold promise. An electric car that wasn't boring. A car that was fast, sexy. Something people actually wanted to drive. But building it wasn't easy. Delays, cost overruns, technical issues. Tesla burned through money faster than anyone expected. Every day felt like the company's last. Engineers slept at the factory. Elon poured his own fortune in, again and again. And yet, the world still mocked. When the Roadster was finally released, it was revolutionary. But Tesla had no profits. And Wall Street didn't believe it would survive. Production hell. Then came Tesla's biggest gamble yet. The Model S, a luxury electric sedan. Beautiful, powerful, and capable of going over 200 miles on a single charge. But the cost to build it was enormous. The challenge of mass production nearly killed the company. Elon called it production hell, and it wasn't just a phrase, it was real. Tesla faced constant delays. The media wrote obituary after obituary. Tesla is dead. Tesla is a fraud. Tesla is just hype. Behind the scenes, Elon was breaking. There are stories of him sleeping on the factory floor, working 120-hour weeks, answering emails at 3 a.m., inspecting machines himself. Why? Because he refused to let Tesla die. He refused to let the dream slip away. The short sellers. But if factory struggles weren't enough, Elon faced another brutal enemy. Wall Street short sellers. Hedge funds bet billions of dollars against Tesla. They wanted it to fail. They spread rumors. They attacked him in the press. They mocked him online. Every time Tesla stumbled, short sellers cheered. Imagine that. Not only are you fighting to save your company, but there are powerful people betting on your failure, celebrating your pain. Most people would crack under that pressure. But Elon, he kept pushing. He faced them head on. And when Tesla delivered the Model S and it won Car of the Year, the laughter stopped. Tesla had proven it could build a car that wasn't just good. It was world-class. But Elon wasn't satisfied, because the Roadster and Model S were expensive. His real mission was to bring EVs to the masses. So Tesla launched the Model 3, a car that was affordable, a car that could bring electric driving to millions. But the Model 3 almost killed the company. Production lines broke down. Robots failed. Factories couldn't keep up. Elon called it manufacturing hell. And again, he was there, sleeping at the factory, eating meals at his desk, living at the edge of exhaustion. Tesla was bleeding billions. Critics said it was finished. Stock price plunged. Once again, Elon was days away from bankruptcy, but then something shifted. The production lines stabilized. Cars rolled out. Customers loved them. And slowly, Tesla rose. The turning point. By 2018, Tesla had finally proven it could mass-produce electric cars. The Model 3 became one of the best-selling EVs in the world, and Wall Street short sellers lost billions. Elon had done what the entire auto industry said was impossible. He had dragged Tesla from bankruptcy to becoming the most valuable car company on Earth. And today, Tesla isn't just a car company. It's a movement. It's a shift in how humanity thinks about energy, transportation, and the future. And here's the lesson for us. Every dream worth chasing will drag you through hell. Every mission that matters will push you to the edge. Tesla was ridiculed. It was mocked. It was nearly bankrupt. But Elon refused to give in. Because of that, Tesla didn't just survive. It changed the world. If you're going through your own production hell, don't quit. Don't listen to the noise. Keep pushing. Because the struggle you're in today may be the very reason you succeed tomorrow. Breakthroughs and momentum. After years of ridicule, failures, and nights sleeping on factory floors, Elon Musk finally reached a turning point. Both Tesla and SpaceX had been to the edge of death. Both had faced bankruptcy. Both had been laughed at by experts. But here's what separates Elon's story. He didn't just survive the storm. He used it to build momentum. The rocket that landed December 21, 2015, Cape Canaveral, Florida. A Falcon 9 rocket soared into the sky. It carried satellites into orbit. The mission was already a success. But this time, there was something more. Because when the rocket's job was done, instead of crashing into the ocean, it turned around, fired its engines, and descended back to Earth. Thousands of people watched in disbelief. The rocket slowed, straightened, and then landed perfectly on its tail. For the first time in history, a rocket had returned to Earth intact, reusable, ready to fly again. The world gasped. The laughter stopped. And history was changed forever. SpaceX becomes unstoppable. That single landing proved Elon right, proved that rockets didn't have to be disposable, proved that space travel could one day be affordable. After that, SpaceX began landing rocket after rocket, sometimes on land, sometimes on drone ships in the middle of the ocean. The impossible became routine. And suddenly, the same people who mocked Elon, the same experts who dismissed him, were forced to admit he had done what NASA and every aerospace giant failed to do. SpaceX was no longer the underdog, it was the leader. Tesla turns the corner. Meanwhile, Tesla was finally finding its rhythm. The Model S stunned critics. The Model 3 became a mass-market success. And slowly, the financial world realized Tesla wasn't going anywhere. By 2020, Tesla's valuation surpassed every major automaker in the world. Toyota, Volkswagen, GM, Ford, Tesla was now the most valuable car company on Earth. And it wasn't just about cars. It was about energy. Tesla built the gigafactories, massive facilities to produce batteries at scale. It launched Powerwall and PowerPack, battery systems to power homes and cities, and it acquired SolarCity, a company installing solar panels to capture the power of the sun. Suddenly, Tesla wasn't just a car company, it was an energy revolution. The critics still came, but let's be clear. Even as Tesla and SpaceX began winning, the criticism never fully stopped. Elon was called reckless, arrogant, dangerous. Every misstep was magnified. Every tweet became a headline. But here's what makes Elon different. He doesn't live for approval. He doesn't measure his worth by applause. He measures it by progress, while others argue about opinions. Elon focuses on outcomes. The outcomes were undeniable. Reusable rockets, electric cars, a global shift towards sustainable energy. The bigger picture. By the late 2010s, Elon Musk had achieved what seemed impossible. He wasn't just running successful companies, he was reshaping industries. SpaceX was leading the new space race. Tesla was forcing the auto industry to go electric. SolarCity was pushing renewable energy. Suddenly, the boy who once slept on sofas, the man who almost went broke, the entrepreneur who was mocked as crazy, was now shaping the future of humanity. The lesson of momentum. And here's the lesson for you. Momentum doesn't come overnight, doesn't come from one lucky break. It comes from years of fighting in the dark, from enduring ridicule, from pushing through failures. Elon's breakthroughs only came after near collapse. The landings only came after explosions. Tesla's dominance only came after production hell. Your breakthroughs will be the same. They will come after your failures. They will come after the moments you nearly quit. They will come after the nights you question everything. And when they will come with force. They will turn ridicule into respect. They will turn doubt into momentum. That's the story of Elon Musk, and that's the story of every person who refuses to quit. Philosophy and mindset. By now, you've seen Elon Musk's journey. From bullied child in South Africa, to sofa surfing student, to broke entrepreneur, to billionaire visionary. But here's the question that matters most. What drives him? What keeps him going when most people would stop? The answer isn't money. It never was. It's mission. It's purpose. Work ethic. Elon Musk is famous for his work ethic. He regularly works 80 to 100 hours per week, at times even more. He once said, "Work like hell. You just have to put in 80 to 100-hour weeks every week. This improves the odds of success. If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks, and you're putting in 100, even if you're doing the same thing, you know that you will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve." That's the essence of Elon's philosophy. It's not talent alone, not luck alone, but raw, relentless effort. Obsession with purpose. But effort alone isn't enough, because effort without meaning burns out. What makes Elon different is that his effort is tied to purpose. Everything he does connects back to a mission bigger than himself. SpaceX, not about rockets. It's about making humanity multiplanetary. Tesla, not about cars. It's about transitioning the world to sustainable energy. Neuralink, not about gadgets. It's about protecting humanity in an age of artificial intelligence. The Boring Company, not just about tunnels. It's about solving urban traffic and changing infrastructure. Every project, every risk, every sleepless night is tied to something bigger than Elon. That's why he doesn't quit. That's why he keeps going when the world calls him crazy, because his mission is greater than his comfort. Handling failure. Elon doesn't see failure the way most people do. Most people avoid failure. He embraces it. When rockets exploded, he didn't say, "We failed." He said, "We learned." When Tesla was on the edge of bankruptcy, he didn't say, "It's over." He said, "We'll find a way." To him, failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. It's feedback. It's data. It's the price of progress. And that's a lesson for us. Stop fearing failure. Start using it. Because every failure carries the seeds of success. If you refuse to quit, another part of Elon's mindset is his ability to think bigger than everyone else. Where most entrepreneurs see a business, Elon sees an entire industry. Where most see today, Elon sees 50 years from now. When people asked, "Why start an electric car company?" he thought, "Because the world needs it." When people asked why rockets, he thought, because we must survive beyond Earth. His vision isn't just ambitious, it's existential. It's about the survival of humanity itself, and that's why people follow him. Because he's not just selling products, he's selling possibility, the human side. Now let's be real. Elon Musk isn't perfect. He's controversial. He makes mistakes. He tweets recklessly. He pushes people too hard. He's been called ruthless, demanding, even unbearable at times. But that's part of the paradox of greatness. The very traits that make someone unstoppable can also make them flawed. And here's the truth. You don't have to agree with everything Elon does. You don't have to copy his personality. You don't have to worship him, but you can learn from him. You can take the lessons of resilience, purpose, and persistence, and apply them to your own life, the core lessons. So let's crystallize Elon Musk's philosophy into lessons you can carry today. 1. Sacrifice comfort for mission. Greatness requires giving up ease. 2. Outwork everyone. Put in the hours others won't. 3. Embrace failure. Use it as feedback, not as final defeat. 4. Think bigger. Don't just solve your problem. Solve humanity's problem. 5. Tie your work to purpose. Money fades. Meaning lasts. And that brings us full circle. From sleeping on sofas to building rockets. From being broke to becoming one of the richest men alive. From being mocked to changing the world. Elon Musk's story isn't just about technology. It's about mindset. It's about refusing to quit. It's about daring to dream bigger than anyone else. And if there's one thing you should take away from his journey, it's this. Your sofa moment is not the end. It's the beginning. It's your launch pad. And if you refuse to quit, if you tie your work to purpose, one day you'll look back and realize the sofa was the start of your rocket,